This is a completely normal Minecraft tree. Or so it would seem. You see, there's something special about this tree and where it's placed that makes it hard to look away and see the other features of this landscape when you first look at it. And that's because this build uses a technique called leading lines, which can be a great way to guide onlookers' eyes to certain parts of an image. This technique has been used everywhere, from movie posters to just some pictures that you'd look at in an art gallery. But this technique can really help to pull someone's eyes towards a certain part of an image and can really improve your Minecraft builds. So how does this technique work, and how can you use it to improve your Minecraft builds? Let me show you how it works first of all. Have you ever seen a picture like this? Surprisingly, this simple image is a use of leading lines to lead your eyes from the bottom of the image to the top. In fact, it has 5 individual leading lines that all point to the center of the image. So leading lines is just having one or more straight lines pointing towards the thing that you want to see in the image. Not exactly. Let's return to the tree for a second. How many leading lines can you see in this build that point towards the tree? Maybe pause the video, have a count, and then put your answer in the comment section. For those of you who said 5, you're wrong. For those of you who said 10, maybe more like it. Let me show you me building this scene and considering all of the leading lines that go into it. So I start by pasting in the tree, which in itself is actually a subtle way of drawing your attention to it. Its colours are yellow, orange and red, which are all very bright colours that draw your attention very quickly. Technically not a leading line, but worth mentioning. I then get to work building the cliff that the tree is sitting on top of, and here I immediately put in 2 leading lines. So the first one is a mud patch to one side which points up towards the tree, and another one is a very subtle lump of a moss patch, but it has 2 drip leaf which continue the leading line up towards the tree. As I continue building down the cliffside, I accentuate this middle line which also points up towards the tree to make another one of the leading lines of this image. Next, I add in the waterfall next to that, which is a much more obvious leading line, but it's very important for making your eyes settle up here instead of down here. Whilst building the pond, which isn't a leading line in itself, I add some pointed dripstones at the bottom of the cliff, which also just subtly point up towards the tree. So as you can see, that's already a whole load of leading lines pointing towards this tree, but the only really important ones at the moment are the moss bank, the mud bank and the waterfall. If you look closely at the pond, you'll also see this other subtle indent into it, which is just another leading line that leads you towards the waterfall, which leads you towards the tree. I build up a bank to one side of the pond, which has another leading line in it that just points you very subtly towards the cliff to go up to the tree. And then I get started on the river, which is the most obvious leading line out of all of the ones in the image, which just leads you pretty much directly towards the tree. I build down a curve for the cliff, which is also another line leading up towards the tree. I also add some patches for the floor of the area, which all of them point towards the tree. And finally, after a bunch more polishing off and a few more subtle leading lines being added in, I add our final 2 leading lines, which is going to be a tree stump to the right and a bent over tree to the left. Now it's very important that there's no leaves on the bent over tree, because that would include oranges and reds and yellows, which would take attention away from the main tree. And that's how this Minecraft tree forces your attention towards it. I really hope that this video could have helped you with your own Minecraft build somehow. Remember that not every build is going to have a leading line that fits into it, and definitely not as many as are in this image, but they can be a really useful technique to help with drawing someone's eyes towards a certain centerpiece of a build. But that's about it for this video. If you enjoyed, please remember to leave a like and subscribe because it really helps me out, and I'll see you all in the next one.